let's talk about some pretty cool things that are going on now with the world of cosmic movies. Guardians of the Galaxy is a big success. It's the #1 movie of the year domestically. And
it's not doing too poorly overseas.
Not doing too poorly overseas. It begs the question now, because Hollywood is clearly a beast that likes to repeat itself and chases the next, whatever seems to be the fad. Do you think, will Guardians spawn knockoffs? And I bring this up. I ask this because the rumor mill this week.
There's a connective tissue here.
There is some connective tissue. I'm nothing if not a surgeon of the spoken word. There was a rumor this week from Latino Review who reported that Legion of Superheroes is it's an old DC science fiction adventure comic. Many incarnations of it over the years. It started in the 50s in Adventure Comics, the Superman title, and that Warner Brothers sees Marvel having the success with this literally out of this world property, and they're like, hey, how can we get us some of that talking raccoon money? And and now apparently they're out to writers and taking pitches for a possible Legion of Superheroes movie, which is essentially poaching from Marvel's playbook. Yeah. So back to my original question. Is Guardians spawning knockoffs?
Yes.
Yes.
I mean, it is a cannibalizing beast. It eats of itself, Hollywood.
Oh.
It does. I mean, I think, yes, there is probably that question of, what can we get that's as close to this? Because obviously it's tapping into a particular audience, and I feel like you've seen that play out over and over.
It's a 4-quadrant success, as they say.
The four-quadrant success, and you've seen that model play out over and over again throughout the years. I mean, it's inarguable that when one kind of film is successful, other people then do films that are in that vein. So it's not surprising.
Yeah, like Die Hard spawned all that, to the point where it was like a joke, where it's such and such a thing in a ship or whatever, or in a boat. It's Die Hard in a whatever.
I mean, space adventures being back is not a bad thing.
Not a bad thing at all.
Well, we see an Ice Pirates reboot. Is what I'm asking.
God, definitely not. But I'm actually not that excited about Legion of Superheroes as an idea. What I'd like to say is, it's not a surprise that these things are happening, but I don't necessarily want to see it happen unless people can execute. People, it's different when it's Marvel. They've executed this thing brilliantly. Now, hopefully, we're going to get...
But remember, we weren't entirely sold on that when it was first announced. It was a huge question mark, and even
for sure.
Nerds like us, we were kind of like, I don't know, Davey.
But I think that the key really is, and this is the thing I think that continues to frustrate me, is that they're like, oh, this thing is successful. And to your point, it's probably because of the really adorable yet violent talking tree.
Yeah.
Or
James Gunn.
Yeah. But really, it's a successful movie because it's a good movie.
Yeah, because it's well made.
It's well made. It's got good characters. It's got a lot of heart.
So basically, the same reason why every good movie is successful.
That's exactly it.
I mean, not every good movie is a success, truthfully speaking, and not every hugely successful movie is good. But in this particular case, Guardians is a good movie, and that's why it worked, because it was word of mouth that really drove, I think, that box office.
And a smart release date.
We're
and
sitting.
A smart release,
What week is that since its release? It's the 5th week.
Sixth.
Yeah.
So it's number one in the 6th week, and it was not number one in the 2nd week, which means that it's had this wonderful well, I mean, first of all,
it was a
plateaued,
hiccup thanks to Turtles.
Well, I mean, Turtles also had a brilliant release date.
Well, they've been 1 and 2 now for weeks. I mean, Turtles is doing really well.
I mean, those are probably the two movies that if you're somebody if you're a family, you can take your kid to either of those movies and feel pretty good about it, I think.
It's a good time to be a 9-year-old at the movies.
It's for sure.
But
it's a good time to be a 37-year-old, or I guess I'm 40, but,
I mean, Guardians has a lot of repeat viewership, too, and I think that I've seen it 3 times. Personally, I think that our colleague Eric Goldman's seen it 6 or 7 times at this point.
He's personally responsible for at least $80.
$80 of the profit.
Sometimes I think that about Mountain Dew. I drink certain flavors of Mountain Dew so much that if I stopped drinking them, they'd go away.
You should write the company.
They can pay your
feel
doctor
I definitely
bills,
have. I've definitely written the company before.
So if Guardians is going to spawn knockoffs like Legion of Superheroes, I mean, do we think ultimately is it smart for DC to poach this particular play from the Marvel playbook? Is it sort of a, I don't want to say third rail, but is it sort of like, look, man, you stick to the superheroes we know, or
would they get the same no joke email clause?
Yeah.
The rumored, like, we've got to keep the DC films. I don't know that this rumor is valid or not, but the idea of keeping them in this gritty sort of universe where it's like, another reason I think that Guardians is a great success is it's a ton of fun to watch. You know, that's why you want to.
The main reason it's such a success.
Do we? Are there any other kind of like space properties that could be kind of rebooted in kind of keeping with that could be kind of sold as like another Guardians, something that doesn't even have to be comic book related? Could we see like Last Starfighter
Buckaroo
remake
Banzai?
finally happen,
Oh my God.
You know? Because they've been trying to do like another Last Starfighter for ages. I mean, couldn't you just say, guys, it's kind of, it'll be like, he's like Peter Quill, except it's got video games.
But the Last Starfighter, no, for real though, the Last Starfighter, no, for real, let's get quiet.
We're keeping
Everybody,
it real.
let's get quiet and bring it in. But no, it actually makes so much sense to and I'm so often against like retreading the 80s ground. But with Last Starfighter, it makes so much sense because look at how far video games have come since then.
It's
like,
still one of the best video game theme movies.
It is.
Yeah, for sure.
And like, it makes so much more sense today even. I mean, the only problem with it is that I guess people would say that it's close to Ender's Game in some ways.
That's what my mind snapped to.
But nobody will remember Ender's Game by the time that. The only people who would say that are the same people who are going to go see it anyways.
Also the way that Ender's Game was executed shabbily.
Jeez.
Yeah.
And there's a movie that's just like, it's like going to a damn funeral. It's just like if a bouquet of flowers showed up, I wouldn't have been surprised. I mean, and I liked Ender's Game, but I'm like, dear God, man, it's just mirthless.
It is mirthless.
Super
like
serious.
That
it was
word.
the anti-Guardians, really.
I mean, you're a
I feel
little
like I'm
kid and you
parroting
can blow
you
crap
today, Jim.
stuff. Blow crap up. Yeah, blow crap up.
Blow crap stuff.
Yeah, blow crap. That's the Michael Bay school of But okay. So I guess our conclusion is that yes, Guardians will spawn knockoffs.
Guardians will spawn knockoffs, but let's not forget that Star Wars is on the way with plenty of films in the work,
more Star Trek.
In more Star Trek. So there's plenty of space adventures, and you don't want to have like viewer fatigue or audience fatigue on this either. You're going to get more Guardians. Also, you're going to
you'll probably get more kind of chances at failure than you might with some comic book properties, because I feel like it's such a genre in and of itself. It's like the way Westerns were in the 50s. Like everyone went to see them. Someday it won't be the case. Like Westerns.
Like comic book movies. Really.
Yeah, it'll come back that way.
But for now, let's do the Last Starfighter. If we're going to do one, let that be the one.
We made it happen right here.
There will be several.
On Keeping It Real.